Good morning, everybody. It is 7:29 a.m. on this third day of April 2018. And it is a Tuesday. Hope you all had a great Monday. Um, got a lot of moves happening in our Forex markets today. Time to take a peek at some of those and reviewing our trades from yesterday. Have to pull up the app here. Okay. Um, so we had a pound short yesterday. We want to go short on the dollar pound at 140.57. And where are we at? There we are, right around here. And we did get a nice short on there. Fell down, risen back up, came back down again. We've just kind of been going in a jigsaw here, up and down and up and down and up and down. What we've really got forming here is it looks like it's a bear flag. Okay, that's the kind of activity we have. That looking at it from the hourly chart here. So, and we're right above this pivot, and we've crossed above it, but I don't know if it's going to hold. It doesn't look like this is going to hold, so we might be looking to go short again when we fall back below. Just kind of hang out on this one here for a bit. Euro dollar, tight range being traded here since the 28th. We wanted to go short at 123.27, which we did do that yesterday. We got short, came back down, got about 40 pips on that, and it's traded back up. It's finding resistance at the arc here. It's also facing some resistance around this zone here on this long-term fib level from our most recent major swings on our hourly. So we're facing some resistance at the 382 zone. And we'll see if it wants to plow through or stay above, or what it feels like doing. Looking at the gold trade. So gold, we wanted to go short at a pullback to 1327. And if we look at what did I say? 1327. Yeah, we want 1327. It's really like on a break down below here, but we did not. We have not broken that trade yet. I have to readjust this again. Clearly, we're kind of following this trend line here. There's bullish divergence that showed up in the composite index. That might explain why we have some higher prices forming there. Looking over here now at the where are we at? Oh, yeah, and then yesterday morning I put in a late trade. I said to go long at 106.02 on where were we at? Somewhere. Oh yeah, up here. Dollar yen retracing quite a bit of its move. It's also facing a little bit of stoppage here at the 382 zone. But if you look yesterday when prices came down, look how extended we were in our oscillators, and then we fell back down on the 618 fib line. That was a pretty nice long opportunity there. Where are we at? Dollar yen. We keep crossing above these angles, which is bullish. That's good to see. And we really, if we're looking at this from like an Elliott wave perspective, in impulse waves, we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4. If we want to be generous. And then 5 would probably be all the way up there. could break a little bit of the Elliott rule there, possibly. Okay. As far as news that we've got coming out, we've got Redbook coming out at 5 to 8, and then 8:45 we've got ISM from New York. New Zealand dollar has that already happened. The dairy prices. Other than that, really not a whole lot of news. So, yeah. Okay, looking at what we've got going on. Let's take a look at New Zealand dollar. New Zealand dollar is really extended here. We are showing some clear signs of some really large tops being formed here, and some very obvious divergence here. Make sure my mic is working. So if we look at, we have higher highs here, okay? And then if we look at our oscillators, both oscillators are printing lower highs rather. So lower highs in our oscillators and higher highs in price. That is always a bearish sign. That is regular bearish divergence. That is a sell signal. So we should look at that here, right at the present value area. Okay, and we're saying that because we're also have come up against this resistance again. The volume has been decreasing, and yeah, it's just kind of a really obvious area to begin to short. Pound dollar had a nice big throw up in price right before at the hourly, right before the close of right before 6 a.m. Central Time, and then we've caught a bit of a bid up here, and we've retraced really, almost to the 786 retracement level, and we're sitting around this pivot. We did have conditions for that long, but now we're looking to go short here, and we're probably looking at shorting back below the pivot line here. And so we're looking at 1.4062. Aussie dollar, though, we may be looking at a long opportunity coming up here. I was discussing that yesterday as well, but we're going to kind of hold off just for a little bit. Euro pound, gosh, it's just a frustrating trade. Even on longer time frames, want to look at the weekly here, really almost looking like we'd be approaching long territory. But gosh, if you look at this on the weekly, we've been stuck in a range trade since we've been trading between 87.75 and really we could say 90.19 ever since September of 2017. This is the range you traded. Actually, we could probably say it's even tighter. We could say it's 89.50, between 89.52 and 87.74. So like 180 pips worth of range is what's been traded for, let's say, ever since October of 2017. Kind of a wild tight range that we've had going on here based on the weekly. On the daily that is looking like a sell signal, but it's just not a very good setup there. United States dollar, Canadian dollar, boof, that fell down quite a bit. Although we probably have a good, you know what? Let me take a look here. What do we got? 4 hour. Looking pretty heads and shouldery here. Maybe we want to stay out of that one for now. 8 hour. Pretty head and shouldery. The daily. Let's check out this swing here. This is probably where we'd want to entertain along again is down to the 127. So yeah, that's pretty easy zone to look at. Okay, moving back up. Gold. Gold facing some rejection right at the conversion line there. We'll see if it breaks below the base. Euro facing a little bit of resistance here. You know, there was supportive buying. We're right at this. You know, both the pound and the euro are really sitting at these support levels. But, you know, as we watch here what has happened. So he traded down, hit this first kind of support zone here, traded back up, fell back down, traded back up. So we have a series of lower highs, and we're just getting really flat lows as we go along here. Compare that to the dollar yen. You know, we are continuing to trend higher. We found support on this 2x1 line here, and that looks like it's going to want to continue that trend and really break up higher. New Zealand dollar. Oh man, it went higher, didn't it? Actually, that's probably a good short to add to. I need to add to that. There we go. Bring it on. Nice downtrend we've got going here. Really right on this 245 here. It's a good shorting line, good short zone. Pound dollar, looking what the pound's doing. Okay, so the pound has fallen back down below the pivot. Didn't have enough energy to sustain it yet. I mean, we've still got time. You know, we're looking like we're getting some rejection there. So at 140.62 is where we were looking to go short on a return down there. Dollar yen. You know, this here's where we can really kind of just wait to get a break. Probably looking at the only issue is that once we get above this cloud, then we're going to be in these kind of extended conditions on the hourly. Now on longer time frames, we're still supportive for buying. You know, really, actually, this is a great buying opportunity that we got into yesterday. I'm happy I got that alert out there. Based on the 4 hour, you know, the lagging span still has to come back up above. You know, we're in all the conditions for a long, except for where the lagging span's at. So looks to be like a breakout probably happening. So we're probably looking to wait to go long at 106.44. Okay. And yeah, there's just a lot of, you know, if we look at this on the 1 hour, you know, there's a lot of signals that would be saying go short here. But, you know, as I've been watching this ever since yesterday afternoon, this is kind of a good example of one of those things where, you know, when you watch a market for a long time, when you trade for a while and you look at things, you can kind of pick out how the rhythm and the formation of a candlestick happens. And especially as we're watching it form, you can really tell that whenever the price has been dipping a little bit red, that it keeps getting bought up. So that's showing a lot of strength right now. Certainly we look to be forming some bearish divergence. So maybe a pullback to 106 113 is in the cards. But I mean, there is a lot of just kind of volume activity going on here that we're seeing, accumulating and consolidating before another big push up. You see this whole zone has just been met with a lot of buying tails, and there's some selling tails, but a lot of buying tails as well. New Zealand dollar, okay, got a little heavy up there and has come down a little bit. Dollar yen, yep, that's where we're looking. We wanted to see that happen. We wanted to see that fall down a bit. There it goes. Very extended bull trap there. Aussie dollar, yeah. New Zealand dollar, US dollar, yen, euro. Ooh, man, that guy, wow. It just fell down hard, didn't he? That's a big dive. Big dive. It's pretty wild. I mean, we've got a long-term bearish stance on the euro, the pound, and we have a more bullish stance on the dollar. All right. I'm not really concerned. I mean, I'm concerned about the yen strength, but ultimately for the pairs that we trade the most of, I don't talk about it a lot, but I mean, yeah, it is an issue, but there's a lot more things that drive things here than worrying about the yen. All right, yeah, seeing this play out. Gonna see. We're probably, if we break the support here, that's an elevator down. That's gonna be a big drop. There's even a case for an inverse head and shoulders pattern here, but there is certainly not any follow through to do that. It did not want to drive higher. Still hovering there on the dollar yen, New Zealand dollar. Hovering in these zones still. Pound dollar, trying to find some support, but that is not looking very healthy. Kind of waiting for the news in 7 minutes, see what happens. Aussie dollar, US dollar. I mean, there is on the hourly conditions for buying in the structure here, but we're in great buying conditions on the composite index, but the RSI is a little too. I mean, it's really not, but I don't know, mixed feelings on that one. Euro pound. Showing some weakness. So the euro is really looking like the weak player out of a lot of these. Oh, the dollar yen looking maybe a little heavy here as we're getting into the close of this hourly. Struggling to stay above this angle. Yeah, we're just going to have to kind of wait a few minutes to see how these play out. Yeah, whenever the pound breaks this zone here, it's going to be a big old drop, a big drop. You know, pound dollar even had its own inverse head and shoulders pattern here that did not play. I mean, it tried to play out, but it didn't. Um, Still trying to challenge that 4062 pivot. Certainly finding some difficulty getting above it and staying above it. Dollar yen's resilient too, man. There's a lot of seems to be a lot of strong bulls in all of these zones right now. But with the dollar yen still being the underperformer out of all of them, I mean we're really looking at higher prices on the dollar yen as opposed to looking for higher prices in the euro and the pound. We should expect some dollar strength showing up here, especially in the month of April. There it is. Just talking about that kind of intuition and experience. I think we're experiencing, getting close to a good break. We break above the high here at 106. 30, we're certainly going to have a drive higher, and I'm sure that these other pairs are just really not showing a lot of strength. Yeah, it's weak there. Gold is experiencing a pullback. New Zealand dollar still elevated. I love the New Zealand dollar. I don't know why. It's a pain in the butt, but it's a fun one to trade. I think it is. Pound dollar cannot stay above that pivot. Looking fairly bearish here so far. US dollar, Canadian dollar. We'll see if we get any follow through selling. The daily. This is something you don't see that often. This. Sloping up and the RSI sloping down. That is not very often you spot something like that. That's a bit of a market aberration. That's a hard read right there. But man, that is a very, very, very obvious head and shoulders pattern. The unfortunate thing about it is on the daily is that we're neutral in the RSI, and we are neutral to but leaning on more buying bias on the composite index here. So that's probably certainly a pullback down to probably this fib level, or even that 127 zone, because that would be 50% of this move. You have a 1, 2, 50% retracement, top of this cloud, 50% retracement right off a major pivot. Yeah, this is probably a good zone to look to buy. Probably going to get a breakout in the dollar yen here. I'm looking at this. Yeah, euro's experiencing a very dangerous breakdown zone here. Dollar yen looking pretty bullish right there, guys. Looking pretty nice. New Zealand dollar still sitting where it is, not showing much of a move at all. Just kind of park and bark, they call it. Pound dollar really wanting to stay above this pivot. We'll see what happens. We got the close of the hourly in about 5.5 minutes. We'll see what kind of trade we get there. Taking some quick profit off of those other trades. In the MAM account, we are up $3,349 in this month so far. So in the last day. If we look at the all history, 11,256 and 81 cents. That is the total profit and loss. If we look at, what is that a percentage of? Let's find this out. Maybe 11,256.81. Oops, maybe if I had my num key on. 11,256.81, and our total full deposits. 6, 8, 2, 3. That is 24% gain in a little over a month. I'm cool with that. Okay, quick taking a look here. We've got 3 minutes left. New Zealand dollar still doing its thing, which is really nothing. What is it even doing on the minute? I mean, it's just really not doing anything. We're pretty divergent on the 1 minute chart. Ooh, 1 minute chart. 1 day. 1 hour. Pound dollar back below the pivot. Finding a little bit of a struggle here. Aussie dollar sitting around there. Euro pound bloof. Most important thing looking out here is that we didn't close above this fib line, and that we got rejected at the top of that arc. We'll see how prices respond here. It's going to be an interesting little move at 8 o'clock, more than likely. Kind of keeping an eye on these. I'm going to say the euro is safe to short at 122.78. And then, oh, there it is, dollar yen catching a nice bid here. It's going to, certainly it's going to more than likely shoot up higher here. New Zealand dollar, there's some coming off of that now at the high. Pound dollar really wants to trade higher, but it's facing a lot of resistance here, and there's not as much volume, buying volume here. Now there is, you know, we've got bullish divergence here, and we're very extended down here on the hourly, but man, you know, there's this guy can move when it wants to move. The oil pair can move a lot, rather than not. This is what I mean. Like, you know, on any other kind of situation, we'd be shorting this zone, but, and you know, maybe we are gonna have to look at that, but you know, for the time being, this is just a very classic strong trend up on the euro dollar or the dollar yen. Just see a lot of strength in this move here. And there's, a lot of people trying to short it on the way up. I mean, we're getting inside the cloud here. We may enter a situation where the lagging span goes above the cloud before price. And there's a whole different type of trade scenario for when that happens, and it's hard to go through all of that. But if we're looking right now, what have we got going on? The conversion line has not yet crossed above the base. That looks like it's going to happen here pretty soon. Then we'll have a green cloud in front of us, lagging span and price. It's just kind of a classic breakout scenario we've got forming here. Okay, now New Zealand dollar did shave a bit off here. Pound dollar on the hourly close. It did close just a little bit above the pivot, but really not on a lot of conviction there. So we're already printing lower prices. And the euro dollar also showed some heavy selling there. Keep our eyes on these. Well, anyways, yeah, we're gonna have to really keep our eyes on these markets. There's a lot of areas that are pushing these support and resistance zones. But if we're looking at the yen pairs, like the dollar yen, the yen's weak today. Dollar is strong. We should look at that affecting most of our markets today. On strong moves in the dollar pairs. So looking for a lot of move down here in the euro and the pound. Watch out for that. And then taking a quick look here at our cryptos. Let's look at Bitcoin real quick. Very nice move we've got going on here. This convergence zone of the long-term downtrend line, the long-term uptrend line, and they both converged right on a moon phase, a new moon, which is a full moon phase. So again, if we're in a full moon, that means that there's a high probability of prices trending higher if they were at a swing low. So we are very obviously at a type of swing low here, and so we should expect to see higher prices in Bitcoin moving forward. The volume here is nice because we still have like 18 hours of trading left in the cryptocurrency daily, and we are not too far out. 3/4 of the volume of yesterday already, so we could see a big blow up in prices here pretty soon. Okay, Litecoin. I mean, if you want to know a little secret about the market, something that doesn't get talked about a lot, it's the 0.886 fib level. Okay, 0.886. You will see. And it's very easy to put in there. You just double click on your fib levels, and then the ones that are checked are like the default. But then if you want to see 0.886, you just have to change one of these over here to 0.886, and then it'll put it on there for you. So very obvious breakout from a bottom happening here in Litecoin. Yeah, this is a pretty healthy looking chart. Very nice support at that 0.886. That is a big deal. Bitcoin Cash catching a nice bid too, even though we don't talk about that one a lot. And then Ethereum is a dog. Ethereum is evil. I don't like it anymore. It is way too oversold, but it's not really showing any strength. I mean, difficult for cryptos to be showing any strength, but Ethereum has certainly been the laggard. It has just not shown any strength at all, really. So it's just kind of a bummer pair. Okay, moving forward. Euro dollar. Not sure what it wants to do here. Dollar yen, kind of same situation. May want to sell off a little bit here. We may be experiencing weakness. New Zealand dollar, pound dollar. We'll have to see what happens as we move along here during the day. Otherwise, we've got some good trades coming up, sitting at some pretty important levels, and I think we're going to see some big moves going into today and the next week. These kind of downtrend zones that we've been looking at in the pound and the euro, and large uptrend move happening in the dollar yen, those are more than likely going to happen this week. So those are things to look forward to. I hope you guys have had a great start to your trade week so far, and we'll look to continue that trading. And we'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.